know this is a very odd time for me to be live and all that, but let's get this over with, shall we? Finish this nonsense. There we go. Things are being a pain today. Just bear with me. Let's get this on the move. So, for starters, you may notice the retry count. I went a few loops through the same section of the center we were in before, as well as the other half of the center. Because as it turns out, there is 4 regents, but you only have to deal with 2 of them. We actually went basically the hardest route. Because of course I did. We've gotten some better equipment for everybody. Like Lynn, as you see here, has the auto rifle 7. Got a strong sword plus 8 that I found in a new place I discovered through the fairy colony, which I will explain that whole situation in a little bit here. The wizard wand, which we bought through the fairy shop using an extensive amount of money. The Pyromania and Glacier upgrades were both purchased. Actually, no, they were found in the latter parts of the center. Alright, as you can see, our level's not changed much because I couldn't actually change our level in a meaningful way through the resetting that was being done. You don't keep your levels. We do have a excessive amount of party experience compared to what we had before, and the methodology for that will be explained in a moment here as well. As you can see, we have plenty of healing on hand to get us through things for a while. This is significantly better than anything we've had for the fights in the center so far. The present is a drop rate increaser that I found in that dungeon I was talking about. We have picked up a couple more skills. Specifically, I don't actually have any of them equipped because I forgot they all weren't that great. Specifically, I got Blade Smack for Drac, which is a skill that cannot kill. I'm assuming there's a purpose for it, but I don't really know what that is. We got Snatch, which is the upgrade for Steel. It gives you 25% all damage reduction and has the stealing effect on top of it, but it takes 15 of your AP off while you have it equipped, so it's not great. We got Nina's level 3 Ice, which was in the center as well. I'll show you guys where I found that. We also picked up Teleport for Nina, which we will not be using. All it does is swap Nina and one other person, but it has to be an ally, so it's not that useful in my opinion. But let's go to the fairy colony and I'll explain how I went about all of this. It's not a complicated setup to get through all of our situation here, nor to make all of the money that I was making. First, where I found these things. We finished digging out to this, the Kokon Hooray. This is a extra dungeon. How this works is there is an undisclosed number of floors. I actually don't really have an answer for how many floors there are. Every time you start it, you start at level 1, as in character level 1, as well as floor 1. You get to keep all of your gear and everything, and party experience carries over into it, and carries over out of it as well, which is where I got some of this party experience from. And every floor has a treasure chest on it. You are locked on that floor until you defeat all of the enemies on it, and every 5 floors you have another fairy that can get you out of there. If you do not take the fairy exit out and you die, you lose everything. I have not died in there, so I don't know how much they mean the "you lose everything" statement. But I stopped at floor, I think it was 20. It was either 15 or 20 that I stopped at, because it was starting to get to be a pain in the ass. Your dragon counter up there in the upper right also resets in there. Unfortunately, you will be put back to whatever your counter was when you went in there, when you leave. But you do always have a full meter to deal with the inner workings of that place with. Now, step one of how I made a bunch of money. Over here in the challenge room, I'm gonna cancel Combo Master for a moment so we can have a look at what challenges I've done. Ironically enough, the Goose Layer challenge that we had queued up for so long and only recently did it gave me 30,000 Zenny. That's where the seed for me making a ton of money came from. Chicken Runner, I forget what it gave me, but it wasn't anything impressive. Duke Hunter was 1,000 party experience. And the rest of these are just not practical to do at this stage of the game for me, so I'm not really worrying about them. Combo Master we can still do, that's why I had that one queued up. So we'll either get Combo Master or we won't. So from that 30,000, I went over here to the bank. Now over here in the bank, as I showed off initially, there's foreign currencies you can trade. By trading these as I was doing my grinding, running through the center, just fighting enemies over and over again to get money, experience, items, etc., ad infinitum, every 5 enemies you fight, the currency rates will change. As long as the currency rate goes up, as you might expect, you make money. Currency rate goes down, don't sell your stuff, just wait. Kill a few more enemies, try again. As you can see from the fact that the mills are worth 199 at their low, and I could pull it out right now for 60,000, gives you an idea how I made all that money. I was just cycling it all through there a bunch, as well as selling off all the equipment that was not as good as what I had, that I was picking up on my trips through the center. I then added to it with the things I found in the Kokon Hooray that I didn't need. It amounted to a lot of money. That 60,000 that's sitting in there is chump change compared to how much I was sitting on from before. Now, as you probably saw when I had the order screen up for a second, I have multiple shops open. That's to have open everybody's weapon shops so that I could buy everything I needed. I did convert the Lin shop back to a skill shop so I could sell things when I wasn't managing to reach the other set of shops, which there are a second set of shops in the center, but you have to get past 2 regions to get to it. We never got that far. That's why we never found own shops again. Personally, I think they would have been just fine having a shop in between each regent, because those regents are such a hefty fight on their own. But I get it. It's meant to be a ballbuster, it's meant to be a nightmare. It's understandable that it's hard as all hell. We don't need to be here anymore. Oh yeah, and I also was increasing our money by pulling the funding out of the colony, because they were making money hand over fist with the cafeteria. Now, I was originally going to surprise everybody with this information, but I'm going to show you something in the item locker. Notice the fact that we have another 20 med kits, 10 trauma kits, and 10 tonics. I built up a lot of supplies for this situation, because I wanted to be absolutely sure that we were going to make it through this, and if I feel like we're starting to run low on supplies by the time we get to that final shop, I have plenty of money to get more. I'm letting the money soak in the foreign currency thing right now, because I'm hoping that I'll actually be able to get an even bigger payout before we reach the end, in case I need to buy one of those final weapons in that final weapon shop. Because there's still a couple weapons I didn't buy yet, which are much more powerful weapons than what I've got. I did not grind to get those, both because I think they would be a little too strong, but they also come at a fairly hefty speed decrease. And I wasn't comfortable going that much slower than my opposition. We're already having speed trouble. I don't need to make our characters slower. Now, there is a save point as well, where the second shop is, and we will be making use of that save point. Because even after the 2 Regent fights, it ain't over. It ain't over by a long shot. I'm not gonna need steel anymore. Steel is gonna be irrelevant. We'll give Lyn Valor. I'm gonna have a Leech Power and a Valor Shield for myself. And we will give Nina back Leech Power for now. When we get to the final bit, I might swap her over to Valor as well. So she'll get up once per fight. And it's not as much of a drain on my tonics and such to keep her alive. Because that's been our biggest problem, is we run out of tonics to keep standing people back up as they get their head caved in. Now, all things considered, this is not an ideal way of going about fixing the problem. Just going for excessive amounts of healing really shouldn't be the be-all, end-all way to handle this. But without me starting the game over a couple more times, which, mind you, I didn't restart the game entirely at all during this process. I was using restore rather than restart the entire time, so I was just taking trips back through the center over and over again. Hey, Evo. I don't know how much of the explanation you caught, but there's been a rolling explanation of how we got here and how this happened. Yeah. One of these days, I need to just help you set up a sound for whenever you load the stream, since those are a thing that can be done. But yeah, we have an obscene amount of money. We have very good equipment. There is still better equipment that I did not get because speed. We're heading back up to the center now to actually make use of this information. But all of my trips, aside from in that side dungeon, were all going back through this section I'm heading up to now. I have fought the 2 regions you guys haven't seen multiple times now in the process of the grinding. Specifically because it's the more doable with my setup side of fights. Let's see. Yeah. Now, it is my intention to go through this as normal. We will fight our way through as I would if I hadn't been here at all. I'm intending to fight the regents fair at this point. Because a lot of the time, since I knew I wasn't going to need to worry about the dragon counter, I just dragon formed through them because I figured out how. And if things get bad, I will use that information. I will devastate them with the power of the dragon. But I want to see how doable it is to beat them without it before we do that, since I am loaded for bear on healing. It seems only fair. let's see. Nina is currently holding her Pyromania. I want her Wizard Wand. The Wizard Wand has the advantage of having every element she has in it. The only spell I'm missing is her level 3 Lightning Valhalla that we've seen thrown at us a couple times. So she can just hurl magic at a scary rate. The Wizard Wand also raised her magic by 30 compared to where she was before. That should tell you how behind we realistically were in terms of her spellcasting implements. And even with that 30 boost, you'll notice these Buzz Militants hold up pretty well. There's also a mechanic I didn't realize I had, or I forgot, or I'm not sure where this all went wrong, but I'll explain when Lynn's turn comes back around, where I went slightly awry and could have helped myself a lot. It's nothing game-breaking, and nothing that would have made the game easier, technically, but it would have been helpful. Especially with how I had Lynn going first all the time. The profile button that I misunderstood at the time. I can look at an opponent's profile. I can see what they're weak to, what they drop, and how much health they have. It also gives you a little piece of information on how they behave. This would have been incredibly useful information, but it was buried in an R2 menu, and I didn't even think to double check that at any point, because I think the last time I saw the profile button, I was like, oh, that probably just is like status check. You check your own stats, because most games have that. Because the game never actually goes into a tutorial for you in any way, shape, or form for that. They just assume you're going to press buttons and find out, which ordinarily I do. But with this game, for the most part, I didn't need it, so I didn't even think about it. But that's another little tidbit of information that will help anybody else who decides to take on this nightmare. Because you will be better prepared for what you're dealing with. Because let me tell you, it definitely made a difference in what I was doing in certain fights along the way. Because I knew how much I needed to do and what would work. Rather than the guess and check I was doing before of throw a spell at enemy, does it hurt more? No? Okay, then this spell sucks against them, don't use that. Of course you live. Fucking health. You little bastard. I also reran the numbers, and I have to correct a conclusion I came to earlier. It is actually, in a bunch of situations, better to roll through your entire set of abilities to get the combo multiplier up, even against the shielded enemies, if you have a strong attack in your level 3 slots. Some attacks are not strong enough to be worth it. So that ends up being a judgment call you have to make. But like, rolling through all of Nina's spells, for example, so that her Inferno and Blizzard end up with like a 50 to 60% damage increase? Meaningful. Pretty meaningful. When it comes to breaking shields. I think he'll live long enough to demonstrate this purpose, so... We're not going to be able to get a huge bonus going because of the fact that she's only got 90 AP right now, but this will be enough to demonstrate the concept. I could have rolled through every button she had. But you'll notice, even just with 90 AP, she can get up to a 50% bonus with her Blizzard, which makes it do 130 instead of the like sub 100 it was doing before. But it's all situational, which is why I really wasn't considering it that much. Because again, most of it we didn't need, so I didn't really think about it that much. Why is your... Something's wrong with her AP. Why does she only have 87? This entire time she's had more than that, so where did 5 of her AP go? Oh, right. I swapped her to Valor now rather than later, that's why different. Because I knew I was gonna forget to swap her to Valor when we got up there. And that's gonna be the one big problem with having the auto rifle instead of the sniper rifle. Against certain enemies like these stalkers, she's not gonna be able to hit the broadside of a damn barn again. I'm sure we all remember the times of me screaming at Lyn to hit her damn target. And unfortunately, the missed chance is going to be back. The speed difference between the Auto Rifle 7 and the Sniper Rifle is well worth it. At least in my setup it is. Lyn still goes last, but she's going ahead of a bunch of enemies that I've run into now, instead of being last. Which, let me tell you, has been devastating to our cause to have her going slow enough that everything attacks before she gets a turn. Usually means she's dead by the time she gets a turn. And having a real sword for Drac means we do actual damage ourselves now, which is helpful. And I believe that attack stat carries over to Dragon Form as well. So it's kind of important. And that's why our Dragon Form was kind of disappointing before. And I think we've slowly been gaining stats a bit each time I've been repeating, because I swear Drac's health wasn't 360 when we did this before. But I might also be losing my mind because I've been staring at these numbers for the past, like, entire day. It's really hard to say if my brain's just melting about that at this point or not. Because let me tell you, I've been looking at this literally all day. Which is probably part of why I want this over with. But the very final bit has been signaled to me as being so harsh that this is necessary. Like, not even counting getting past the regents. It gets worse after them. Like, by comparison, the regents are easy. And honestly, now that I've gotten a handle on fighting them, the regents are easy. They just really suck the first go-around that you run into them, because you, 1, don't know their mechanics, and 2, are not used to dealing with those stupid shields. Since it's not a mechanic that really comes up at all the rest of the game. And yes, I'm gonna keep pointing at that because I'm still mad that they just break out this fucking shield mechanic in the last, like, hour of the game. In a really big way. Like, it was genuinely aggravating to me that just suddenly is a thing. You guys aren't worth my time to deal with. But yeah, as it turns out, it matters which of the teleporters at this specific step you go through. We ended up going through the teleporter on this side over here. Which took us to the checkerboard lady and the swordsman. If we go the way I'm going to be showing you guys now, we get two very different fights. And the first one's not as interesting as the checkerboard fight was mechanically. The second one's kind of odd, and I want people to see this. So, I say it's kind of odd, but the mechanic's also really dumb. Like, dumb in a actually very easily defeated way, even if it still manages to be annoying. There's also a different mini-boss down here. This little bastard. This guy's nowhere near as dangerous as anything else around here has been, really. I am gonna quickly swap Lyn off of Valor for a moment, though, because I'm gonna want her to have 3 attacks a turn again while we deal with this guy. Because he has a barrier just like the Regents do. And it's kind of a pain in the ass. But Lyn can shoot right through it. As long as she just sits here and shatters at him. Because he doesn't have much health. He just has an asinine amount of barrier. So as long as you can get through it to hit him, you can kill him. You just gotta get through his barrier to hurt him. And to that end, I'm actually gonna switch to my Sapphire Master, and what I'm gonna be sitting here doing is rusting the shit out of his armor. And hoping that the defense down triggers. The odds on it are terrible, as you can see by how this is going. But if I can get it to work, I can actually crack him pretty quick. And just for reference sake, level 77 Gargantua. Small but has a powerful wild swing, barely moves at first, and its range expands quickly. Defeat it fast. They're not kidding. It gets more and more dangerous as it goes. They kind of fucked up with the UI here in that, as you can see, the health is hidden behind the rest of my UI, which is a bit unfortunate. He has no elemental weaknesses, and he drops a level 5 sword when he dies. Yeah, just bear in mind the fact that that's level 77. And that's going to be a going theme with a lot of things in here, is that they're clearly designed for you to have to make at least one reset along the way to deal with them. I'm sure with enough knowledge, it's absolutely possible to beat it in one go. And we got close. If I hadn't stupidly painted myself into a corner, we absolutely would have gotten here in one trip. And now that we're here, even then, I think we could have done it armed with better information than I had. I just made mistakes. Which, you know, first time around, or in this case, first time after a really long fucking time around, you're gonna make mistakes. As you can see, with a full 200 AP bar, Nina can also rip this guy apart pretty good. And that's also a demonstration of a full set of her spells getting thrown at something. If I had one more damaging spell, she could literally roll through all 9 slots on a full bar. But unfortunately, Shazam doesn't do damage, and I just don't bother to cast it. It's just there to fill space. So there's not an empty slot there. And this should show just how much stronger we are now. I'm sitting here just spamming a weak attack, and eventually I'm breaking through his shield. And now that he's got his defense down a little bit, Lin should absolutely be able to just finish him off. And that's that. No more Gargantua. That went a lot better than it usually does, because usually he gets lucky with his wild swings more and just drops people straight up. Because if he rolls well on that wild swing, he can just one-shot even Drac with his 360 health. Just wham, dead. It's kind of disgusting. And I do actually have Wild Swing equipped on one of my weapons again after experiencing that. Because there is a chance where we could experience that joy of spontaneously doing double damage to something. And I thought it'd be pretty funny to just keep that in my back pocket in case I decided to be silly. I don't have anything to bait these guys apart with this time. I've usually been throwing meat to split this up a bit because this gets a little disgusting. And then there's the fact that their aggro radius is a little wacky. So sometimes they just come flying at you arbitrarily. Thankfully, that actually got him out of the group, so that's a good thing. Because this group as a whole is a bit of a nightmare. As you can see, they don't give a damn about magic. The physical attacks do just fine. And that's something that isn't shown in profiles, is their magic resist and various stats like that. So that's a bit unfortunate. At this rate, I might as well just shoot in there and we'll make it work as best I can. I've also gotten rid of Lin's defense piercing moves in favor of focusing more on her area effects for getting us through places like this. Because groups of bats like that just get bodied. I should have just fired 3 dances in there instead of switching blow up. I was hoping to get the bonus. Oh well. There's also a lot more variance in how much range people's weapons have than I realized. Right now, Drac is equipped with a sword that has longer range than any other sword I've encountered in the game so far to give him an advantage, on top of being the strongest sword I've been able to find. Nina's wizard staff has slightly shorter range than some of the stuff I've been using for her, so that's been being a problem. The auto rifle also, of course, doesn't have as much range as the sniper rifle, so that's been an issue as well. As you can see there, 200 range means I can reach past the edge of my bubble and actually do something. Which has been a lot of help whenever I'm chasing enemies around a goddamn room. I could use the multi-meds to wake people up, but I'm actually going to let the sleep be. Because we should be able to handle a turn of being asleep like that without it being a huge issue. I just gotta watch out for him casting death on me. Because if I hit the floor and everybody's still asleep, it's gonna be an issue. And that's why I'm not that scared to sleep anymore in this game, is because the AI is not smart enough to play around it. 9 times out of 10. They will usually wake you up. With or without meaning to. In the interest of attacking you. That's gonna end up healing him, but that's okay. I just wanted to get rid of the bat that was in front of Nina. We can easily make up for it by throwing a couple Infernos. This is why this particular fight kind of sucks, though, is he loves to sit here and spam sleep at you. He's also got an attack that can put people to sleep on top of the actual sleep spell, too. which just gets annoying. And, like, this guy's not even a boss, really. He's just kind of here. And he's more dangerous than half the other shit in this place, just purely because of the sleep and the death spell that he has. Because either of those two can just completely ruin your day. We actually nearly had a wipe earlier, or today, while I was grinding because of Confuse as well. Nina just went to town on the damn team. I fucked up. And there's the other thing he can do. Headshake lets him confuse people. Because he didn't already have enough bad things he could do to you. So to reiterate that one, he can put your whole team to sleep potentially. He can confuse at least one person. He's got a single target death spell that almost always works when he uses it. And this is, again, just a regular old enemy. So if they think this is okay for these guys to have, I want you just to imagine what they might give to a final boss. And I want you to understand just why I'm so worried about that. Okay, now he's starting to do the nastier stuff again because he doesn't have any of his friends. That's a problem. Because he does nastier direct attacks once all the regular bats are gone. But it's crawling through all of this is why I made sure to have a ton of healing available. Because I knew I wanted to just actually push through all of this instead of skimming past it like I easily could. And that gets rid of all those heal kits that we're never going to really use in combat. We'll go ahead and bump everybody up a level, since we have plenty of party experience on hand to do so. I was holding back on using party experience at all on my way through. Is you get, I think it's like half of your party experience back when you restore as well, but only if it's still banked. So I just let that shit build up. Yeah, we'll kill this thing. Let's see how this works out. I'm starting to hate this little bastard. That's what I was afraid of. She's not actually in the right spot to use them, and her knockback actually knocked him away from it. But I also didn't want to bump into him and trigger combat in his favor. Now, how the Pandora's Box works is, depending on what turn you kill it on, you get a different reward. But every turn it's alive, it starts casting nastier and nastier magic. Personally, I don't think it's worth letting it live even more than one turn, because it sucks. But as you can see, it's a durable motherfucker. And here's its profile. Box that contains 3 fears. After facing all 3 fears, hope will remain. That's your hint that it's gonna give you its best reward after those turns. Mechanically, what it does is it casts each of the 3 elemental spells at you First the tier 1 variants, then the tier 2 variants, and if you still haven't killed it by then, it'll cast the tier 3 variants at you. And good luck surviving when it throws a stack of tier 3 variant spells at you. It's no fun. Which is why we just bomb it. I'm also not going to use those bombs for anything else anyway. But that gives us another 7th sense, because turn 1, you kill it, you get 7th sense. And I'm stacking those to give me an edge in the Regent fights. Is giving somebody 50% of their stats on top of their current stats is scary. Okay, we're going to the center north as opposed to the center south we were in before. That life kit is a full heal for one target, which we probably won't be using anytime quick. Now you'll notice these alcoves are empty. That chest there is where Blizzard was. We will not be dealing with what it takes to open that chest, but I will explain it. First off, see this room full of goos? You've got to kill all of them. Once you kill all of the goos in here, new mobs will spawn back in the room before this. Specifically, a Goo King and 2 Crystal Goos. The eyes are pretty great. Now, the Goo King is a fucking nightmare and a half to deal with. He's really tanky, and if you piss him off by taking the item he has, he starts hitting incredibly hard. Now, I need to cast my spells kind of carefully, or accept the fact that I'm going to boost at least one goo here, and I think I'm just going to accept my fate and boost the one blue guy that's in here. Because it's going to be worth it to demolish the other ones. Because now that the red ones are gone, I can counterbalance what I just did by throwing an Inferno in there. And that's why I wasn't too worried about stacking a bunch of them on screen, because as you can see, they're not really a problem anymore. When I first came in here, they were an issue. Now, nah. Not really a problem. We have actual gear now, so they are nowhere near as dangerous. And that's all without changing our level in any real appreciable capacity. This is all gear advantage. And some actual use of my own intelligence more than I was before. I was playing sloppy up when we got to this point. Because, you know, things got smooth and relatively easy again, so I was like, eh, just can cruise. And then I got slapped down for it. This room also was a big part of why we were making so much money. Because this is all, like, fire or plasma and ice macer swords and such that all sell for like 1,000 each. But you gotta identify them. Come on, go stand with your friends. Because these goos will try to run from you. So you can corral them together so you can just clean them out. It is unfortunate, though, that we got a mix of 3 different ones, so I can't just completely cleanly blast. But it's okay, we can just do what we did with the last group on a smaller scale. Nuke them. And then throw an Inferno at them for good measure. This one's gonna live long enough to get a turn, potentially, unless Lyn get... Nope, Lyn got her other turn again, so we're fine. Each of the Goo's colors have different stats, so I couldn't remember which one was the fast one. Ordinarily I'd be picking up all of this crap, but honestly, we're not gonna use any of this. All of it's useless to me at this point. So it's all gonna stay there. Because we already don't have much inventory space because of all the healing I'm carrying. I'm just gonna make sure there's no, like, exceptionally high level variance of anything in here. 3, 2, 3, 4... Nope. Just in case there was a rare drop in there somewhere, because I didn't check the profiles of all of them to see if there was a chance for something ridiculous to pop out of them. Use this protein to raise your defense before we get in there. Yep, we're as good as we're gonna get otherwise. Oh yeah, and for sake of showing off the mechanic, we're gonna go ahead and go to the fairy colony. Because we've been doing a lot of fighting. So things will have changed here. I was usually more frequently changing between being there and being here to monitor the exchange rates in the bank over here. That'll do. I bought all of these mills at 199 each. This is a 70 difference per mill I bought. And I bought 309 of them. So as you can see, our, like, 30,000 I put in there... Oh, no, it was more like 40 or so thousand, has turned into 90,000 zenny. This is what I was doing the entire time to make money. I would put a bunch of money in here, and keep flipping it between the two exchange rates as necessary, and fighting. So we're gonna pull this out. And is the doll at a better rate? The doll is at a terrible rate right now. So we will just go ahead and put this in the bank, straight up. Because if both of them are at a terrible rate, you should just put your money in the bank, because what it does while it's in the bank is it actually gets interest while it's in the bank. Every few fights it starts generating interest, and with the amount we have in there, it'll make a decent amount of interest every handful of fights. And the thing is, technically the stock market is that easy. But there's a lot more factors in the real stock market, as opposed to just monitoring, like, one or two currencies, and then going and punching some stuff to see the money change. The thing is, though, stock market trading by just going with your gut can work. It's just a crapshoot. I'll let the cutscene for this play out. Here, rest it. Who are you? Ah, your aura, it's so clear. A kid? What are you doing here? I've never seen one like yours. I see the pure silver of will. But Drag, you're not strong enough to reach it. Strong enough to reach? What are you talking about? The first one stopped, as it faced the sky. But the time had not yet come. And so it sealed the world again, with its own hand. Aeons passed, and we watched and waited, until one was chosen, by the dragon once again. You're a regent? Yes, I am Cupid. I have one of the keys that you seek. Key. Drac. You should never have been chosen by the dragon. You seek the sky bent by the will of a dragon, a program that you weren't meant to activate. Turn back, Drac, while there's still time. I can't do that. I'm going to help Nina. By my own will, no one else's. If you insist on going, we regents must terminate you. That is our duty. Now, the implication that the Spirit of the Dragon is a program put in place to encourage people to seek the sky after the apocalypse is an interesting thought. But, as to how this fight works, you'll notice Cupid's not alone. There's this big metal monstrosity here. You cannot hurt it. It cannot take damage. It is immune to everything. You have to avoid it while going for Cupid. Cupid will try to run from you, push you away, and specifically target a character per every few turns with its little bodyguard there. Cupid is no slouch in combat on their own, though. They can cast Blizzard, which does a ton of damage, and their push also does a lot of damage. That, coupled with a decent amount of move, makes Cupid a huge pain in the ass to deal with. But, absolutely a doable fight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split up so Cupid has nowhere to run. Okay, targeting me, that's fine. Because I can reasonably go toe-to-toe with her bodyguard. Her bodyguard's also a little stupid. You can actually get it stuck on the pillars and such pretty easily and make it less of an issue. There's something I haven't tried in this fight that I'm going to try now, because I think it'll be really funny. Do I have... Yes, I do have that move on YouTube. Okay. So, knowing that it's immune to my attacks doesn't mean it's immune to a different idea. So specifically, I want to do this, and that. Okay, it's immune to knockback. Damn it. It was worth a try. What I was gonna do was I was gonna try to bully it with knockback down into a corner somewhere and then just beat Cupid to death. I should have known they thought of that. But it would have been really funny if it worked. That's why I saved trying that for the stream, because it would have been really funny if it worked, and the reaction would have been beautiful. Yeah, Cupid's barrier is pretty hefty. It's not unreasonable, but you'll notice 100 damage barely moved Cupid's health bar as well. Cupid is durable. And that's what makes this fight a problem. You're basically going to be spending a long time chasing Cupid around this room, and it's going to be annoying. But in the end, it's not actually that hard a fight. It's just annoying. And this is why I came packing so many healing items. Because it's an endurance fight. Especially when she decides to push people that are far away to make them further away and be annoying. I didn't even know she could push at that range. Well, he, she, I'm not sure what gender Cupid is. Cupid is Cupid. Unfortunately, Lyn can only profile in her attack range. So since Cupid's out of range, can't show you guys how much health Cupid has. But let me just tell you, it's a lot. It's an upsetting amount. I'm gonna move Nina here and wait. I'm gonna go in with my increased amount of AP. And I'm gonna try something that I'm not 100% sure if it works or not. I think it does work this way, but we'll see. I can charge 1. The thing I'm not sure whether it works or not is whether I keep the power boost of Dragon Charge outside of Dragon Form. If this doesn't work, it's going to be a waste of 5% of meter. If it does work, this will be really nasty for them. Considering the rate at which I'm going through their shield, I'm pretty sure it worked. And I could have done a better attack than that. Like, if I had just slightly better lined up my AP, I could have done a lot more damage than that. And if I had just a little more AP in general, I would be able to throw down a Spirit Charge here, which is what I was intending to do, but I did bad math. His Spirit Charge would have then given me a 50% boost to my attack on the next turn. Of course, you'll notice I'm also not using the 7th senses and such I picked up along the way. They're not for this fight. They're for the next one. I also realized the power of the come here move that Lyn has. It's very good paired with his Shatter, as you see there, to bring Cupid to Lyn for a pummeling. And for anyone who's worried about the amount of health items I'm using, don't worry. Remember, we have the asinine supply of them in the storage. I will be able to access that storage after this fight. Well, not after this fight, after the next one. So I do need to save some for that fight. But I have a plan for that fight. Because honestly, after I demonstrate to you guys the mechanic for that fight, I am going to expedite that. This fight, I'm pretty confident I can win conventionally. The next one, I probably could, but it would be a huge pain in the ass and just not worth everybody's time. Okay, I'm not actually going to attack this turn. I'm just gonna ominously walk towards her and Spirit Charge. Unfortunately, you can only Spirit Charge once and have it have any effect. I tried stacking Spirit Charges and the game told me to fuck off. That's fine, that's what I have the multi-meds for. Because that's another thing she can do. She can Shadow Stitch so you can't chase her. Him, whatever the fuck. I forgot to check. The thing that will be dead soon. Now, admittedly, I should have stocked up on the multi-meds a little harder than I did. That could end up being a mistake. Run Nina over here. I could switch to the Glacier because the Glacier does have transfer on it, so I can put some more AP into somebody to ensure that their attack goes through better. In fact, since I'm going to be doing a Spirit Charged turn, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have maxed out AP. So I'm going to have to lose some AP getting closer. That's actually about perfect, as I can Haze Cut into the... no, actually, because it still maths out perfectly, I'll just go straight into Deathbringers. Except, no, the number... the number change fucked me up again. It's fine. We'll still do a decent amount of Deathbringer attacks. So, you know, the numbers keep being just fucky enough that I can't tell if Spirit Charge works on the turn it's used or the next turn. It says it's written like it's next turn, but honestly, it keeps mathing out like it's the turn it's used on. So I probably should have hedged bets and Spirit Charged again that turn, but I second-guessed my math and it got a little screwy. As you can see, even with what we're doing, it's slow going chipping through Cupid's health bar. I probably should have packed more healing. But we can also buy more when we get where we're going. So it's not really an issue if I use literally everything here. I keep second-guessing myself, like, no, don't moneybags your way to victory too hard. It's like, but then why did I make all of this money? I made this money to use it. Because all of the grinding that happened is basically the end result of this game annoying me. It annoyed me into finding my way to as absolute power as I could get. For lack of a better way of putting it. Yeah, no, that doesn't really seem like the Spirit Charge applied that turn either. I am still confused by how Spirit Charge works. I thought I understood it because of how Anger worked, which applies Spirit Charge. But it seems like something funky's going on with that. I'm not entirely sure anymore. If you're just gonna stand next to the machine gun is going to be applied to your face. This is just how this works. Because as you can see, Cupid's down to half, and we're not really in any danger, aside from Nina's precious tiny health bar really not doing great. But she also can't move to do anything about it anyway, so kinda SOL on that one. Considering the rate the machine gun shots are going through the shield, we're actually gonna just power Lyn a bit here. So that'll give Lyn an extra shot and then 5 shots of Shatter into Cupid. And then we'll give myself a little bit more. Because Cupid does definitely seem to be more vulnerable to physical attacks than magic attacks. fine. Just means what we'll do is we'll burn a little bit more of her AP, bringing her opponent to her instead first. I think it took less AP to bring her to me than it did to go to her. This was not overall as effective as I wanted it to be, though, which is unfortunate. So maybe I should have burnt one of the 7th senses here. But down goes Nina. That's fine, that's why we're carrying like 20 tonics, is specifically for Nina life support. Is I could go through all of this effort of making sure to keep her out of harm's way and things like that, or, you know, I can just pack enough healing that she's immortal, well, by proxy. I could still burn one of the 7th senses, just to finish this. Nah, at the rate this is going, we'll get through it. It'll be fine. It's just not as fast as I would like it to be, which is getting my frustration going a little bit. But I'm trying to save resources, so we'll play it by ear. Of course, you know, I can't exactly keep Nina alive if you keep fucking stunning her feet. Rude. I know what I said. Yep, as I said on Twitter, I was trying to get my energy up and everything and make sure I was well enough prepared to get this mess over with. In theory, I'm well enough prepared now. In practice, we'll see how bad the awful finale for this game ends up playing out. Because, boy oh boy, have I heard things about the end of this game. Yeah, no, I don't move very far with my AP, so it is better if I bring you to me. Make sure she's as close as possible. There we go. That last one wasn't necessary, but it's okay. Yeah, that doesn't even go through because of my bad math, though. That's what I was afraid of. Ah, you missed. Because the other reason for moving Cupid back towards us was so that Nina had a chance to reach without having to move. And I think the math on this will work out, but I'm actually going to go about it the other way. See how this math works out. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Her magic resist makes it not as good as it could be. So, let's... yeah. Try spirit charging again. And then we will cut into 2 death bringers. I'm still mathing out the ideal ways to deal damage to these barriers and such. You would think after doing this literally half a dozen times, I would have figured out the best way about this, but it also turned into me just going Dragon Form and two-shotting her. So, that's a thing. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you Cupid's profile as well. Gives command to the Gargantua on Kaz so as to control it with sheer willpower. You'll notice they have 874 health left. and they are level 99. So yeah. They also have no specific elemental resists, but you don't see their defense and their magic defense and things like that on this screen. So you really only have experience to work off of at that point. And as far as I could tell, Cupid's got some hefty magic defense. And just defense in general, considering we don't do that much damage at all to them. His Shatter can't do any more damage than it's doing, since the models are touching. And Shatter is arguably the strongest attack Lynn's got as far as a single attack goes. Technically, things like Blow Up might be stronger because they are a 150% attack, but I think Shatter's multiplier at point blank range goes higher than that. But I cannot confirm that information. I don't need to move. She's already in range. In the interest of making this do a heavier turn, we're just gonna wait. That's fine. If you back over, have you just bring them back over here. And then we're just gonna save the rest of that AP. There's something very funny about this whole situation. Like, I'm gonna get away! No, you're not. Come on back over here. I'm gonna get away! No, you're not. Just over and over again. And just rotate through all of Nina's spells again. The game's gonna yell at me at least once that Oncot can't be dealt damage because it's getting caught in the blasts. That's okay. %60 boosted Inferno and 70% boosted Blizzards are worth it. There we go, we're almost done with this fight. This one's almost over. Once again, I don't have to move that close. I'm already where I need to be. Let's see, with 190... He's cut twice, then Deathbringer 5 times. This fight's over now. Down you go, Cupid. You see now, this white light. It's wings. Oof. 16,002 experience. We got no bonuses for that, so no party experience this time. Usually I was getting a decent chunk of party experience because I could end the fight fast in dragon form. But I wanted to show how it's done when you fight fair against Cupid. At least once. And now you see why I stopped fighting fair against Cupid after the first time I saw the fight. 'Cause it kinda sucks. It's also really not that much of a fight. But how you doing tonight, Magus? Now that I'm done jabbering about that situation. There's a bunch of bees in here. Honestly, I'm not gonna bother dealing with these. The stuff in these two rooms just aren't worth it. Yeah, I feel that. Work wouldn't be work if we wanted to go there. Okay, I got a couple life kits, which is lucky, and another trauma kit, which will be very useful. I'm gonna ignore this Pandora's... am I gonna ignore this Pandora's box? Are these other things I've got? Bind bombs and fire bombs. Yeah, for fun, let's see how this plays out. Do 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 do. Well, that didn't quite go the way I thought it was going to, but it's okay. Because I misunderstood how the fire bombs work, because we literally never used them. If I had known how that worked, I would have been able to keep him next to that bomb and keep Lyn in a position where she wouldn't have had to burn so much AP to do anything with that, but it's fine. We get the 7th sense I wanted either way. Now in here there's a bunch of creepers and such hanging about, and I'm just not going to deal with them either. They are not worth my time. These are worth my time. Bunch of free medkits. If you kill all the stuff in here and the bugs and such in the other room, you'll get the snatch skill out of that chest we passed. Which at this point is useless to us. But now it's time to fight Jesuit. This guy's a prick. Nobody's here. Hey, what? What about me? I'm a fan of yours, you know? I'm glad to finally meet you face to face. My intuition's pretty good, you know? Huh? Hey. That should already give away why this is a pain in the ass. I'm a regent. I may not look it, but yeah, call me Jesuit. We're going to see the sky. Give us your key. Straight to the point. But you don't even know if there really is a sky, right? And you still want to go. Sure, I'll give you my key. On one condition. You'll have to show me what you're really made of. Tell me, Drac, can I really believe in you? Make me believe you really are the one who'll claim back the sky. Forget D ratios, just show me how strong you really are. So yeah, that's his gimmick. He can turn invisible. You cannot target him and you cannot hurt him while he's invisible. But there's a trick to this. Remember Nina's main mechanic from earlier in the game? Traps. All you gotta do is lay a trap for him and he'll run right into it like an idiot. Now, there is a catch to that. And you'll see what that catch to that is when his turn comes around. And boy, is it gonna be a hell of a catch. And take note of the fact that I'm using the big ones, too. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain as we get there. I'm also gonna back up a little bit from these traps. To see, he has a little bit of shield. He doesn't have a lot. But the little bit of shield he has is enough to block the weaker traps. He also does a lot of damage, as all of the regents do. Thankfully, since he burnt enough AP getting to us, he didn't get to do 3 backflips, which is what he usually does, and he just bodies somebody instantly. The kicker to this is every turn, he's going to turn invisible, just about. So you get 1 turn to beat on him, and then you've got to uninvisible him again in order to do anything to him. He's just a pain in the ass to fight. Thankfully, as you see there, his barrier is tiny. But you'll see that the other side of that kicker is he still has regent level health. He's got a lot. He's the least durable of the regents, but he still is really annoyingly durable. So I'm gonna make an example of him, because I hate how he operates and everything. Charge 1. Charge 2. That should do it. Hey, guess what? You're really gonna be invisible in a second. And that's the end of Jesuit. I guess I win our bet, Hortensia. Oof. Who can say if he was ever really there at all? But he's paced now. So yeah, that was just gonna be really tedious if I didn't just obliterate him. And that's why I wasn't worried about having resources for that fight. I did consider using one of the 7 senses so I didn't have to dragon charge as many times, but I'm pretty sure we have enough charge to deal with what's coming up next without it being an issue. You'll remember this music from every time they've had their meetings. This is where all those center meetings were happening. This is where they were having all those important conversations about what we were doing. This is where that one guy kept showing up from to talk to everybody. You know, the guy we haven't seen yet. The one who holds sway over all of the other regions. We'll be getting to that in a minute. The cemetery. Let's go ahead and put her back on Valor. Good. Right, I wanted to switch Nina to Valor as well. We'll go ahead and put our key in the keyhole here. Now, our keys. 3 people, 3 keys, 3 keyholes. Funny how that works. Gotta imagine this stuff hasn't been used in a real long time if they're having to fight that much to turn the keys. But we've done what we needed to do with the keys of the regents. The door's open. All of those regent fights were just open this door. Then we use the key we got a long way back with this one. The very same one we got from the Trinity boss. We get one more chance to shop. And then it really is going to get complicated. This is also where some of the best weapons in the game are contained. The Legend Blade, the only thing in the game containing Great Smash. Wizard Wand 2, I'm pretty sure the only staff better than the Wizard Wand 1 that Nina is currently using. The Stinger rocket launcher and the grenade launcher for Lyn. You'll notice the Stinger makes her slower, but the grenade would actually make her faster. And I wish I could afford it. But I honestly did not sit there and grind enough to get this too, because you'll look at how much that costs. 118,000 Zenny. All of this armor is actually weaker than what we're wearing, aside from being protected from all status effects. These soul items say they reduce all damage, but I'm assuming it's based on a percentage based on your max health, considering what that says. We can identify all this stuff we picked up as soon as I have any money, which I currently do not. Because we've been running around with $0 to our name. I actually don't have anything I can sell that I would want to sell, particularly, but we'll get rid of one of these extra +3s to start the Identify train, just to show you guys what usually you'll be finding in here. The Keltis 5, which is a sword I'm never going to use, because all it has is Slice. It cannot do any of the higher level moves, it cannot do any other moves. It can only do level 1 Slice. It has ridiculous attack, but I don't think it's worth it. I'll show what I mean with that. Compared to the strong sword, it raises my attack by 9. But in exchange, I cannot use any attacks with any kind of multipliers to them. No advantages, no anything. It's just a sword that does sword things. This is where we got the Glacier 6, as you can see there. There are Magic Wand +6s, which if I didn't have the Wizard Wand, this is what we would be relying on. But you'll notice it's a pretty hefty drop in magic. Fireproof 3s, which are useless to us at this point. But as you can see, just by pawning off all of the things we found, we have 5,000 Zenny. It's already pretty good. Get myself another stack of Mega 8 kits. I'm gonna go to the item locker here and get the rest of this out. I didn't bring all of this at the same time, just so that I wouldn't have any inventory issues when I reflexively started picking things up. And all things considered, I'm probably going to fill the rest of the inventory with healing, just to make sure that we have literally the best possible odds of winning. Is it a little stupid? Is it a little excessive? Yes. Do I want to have to redo this? No. Like, it's as simple as that. I want to ensure beyond all possible doubt that we can win this, so I never have to do this again. There's a save point right over there, but I don't want to have to use it if I don't have to. Yeah, you'll notice we went up another 10,000 zenny, just about, with it sitting in the checking account. We'll withdraw all of that, just so we have all the money we could possibly need to make sure we can fill the inventory. And this may seem excessive, and it probably is. But I would like to point out, I've only gone up to the first phase of the finale, and it's strong enough to more or less one-shot people consistently. So that's why there's an abundance of caution to how I'm handling this. We'll go ahead and go in there with... yeah, 4 stacks of revives, probably plenty. We'll go ahead and get another stack of trauma kits. More stacks of med kits. 8 kits for smaller injuries. And a couple stacks of multi-meds in case he starts throwing statuses around. I don't know if he has a bunch of status moves or not. And I'm going to clean up these non-full stacks just because it's going to drive me batty seeing those. And our inventory's not going to be full, but I think this makes the point enough. Like, this is the power of money. So all told, we have 20 aid kits, 50 med kits, 20 mega aid kits, 30 trauma kits, 1 life kit, 30 multi-meds, and 40 tonics. Just in case this does still somehow go awry, let's go back to the fairy colony and put the rest of that money away. Because there is one thing to note. When you have to restart, it gets rid of your inventory and gives you the stuff you would have had at the start of the game, even if you're loading from a save. That's what the money's for. In case we have to restart multiple times and restock healing multiple times. Though if you're confident you're strong enough already, you can also just straight up load your save as normal. But now that we have nothing to lose in terms of money, I'm going to make sure I spend my party experience to make sure we're as good as we can get. We will save, and then we will go see how this goes. Now, for how I might handle this, there was a temptation to put all of the party experience into 2 levels for Drac instead of levels for everyone. But I said I was going to maintain equal levels for everyone throughout this, and I intend to maintain that. Here we go. Big fucking elevator. As you might imagine, this is the elevator that presumably leads to the sky. Out of this underground hell we've been in this entire time. See what happens. Up the fucking sky now. long fucking ride to this guy. You okay? Nina seems happy. It'll be over soon. Please, show Nina the sky. Yeah. We've got a problem. Man will gain wings, and the sky will return to the world. Finally we meet. Drac. Who are you? Drac, my old friend. You know me. I am Elion, the Origin. I ensure the harmony of this world. Origin. Yes. And you are my opposite, the Destroyer. The time has come to reopen the world I locked away by my own hand. At last. Odion, my old friend, I'm so proud you made it this far. Now, let us begin. You don't have much time left. Do you? Victory conditions. Defeat Elion within 20 turns. The elevator will reach Geofront in 20 turns. Defeat Elion before or the elevator reaches Geofront. World 1, Asya Yug. So yeah, this is why it's a problem. There's 3 of him. And before anybody's like, oh, those must be fakes or something. No, they're all equally real. They will kill you. They can and will kill the shit out of you. The advantage? The copies don't have a shield. Downside? As you can see by how Nina's spells are working out, they've got a lot of health. We're not playing any games with this. So I made one mistake. I should have used a 7th sense before changing, because now I can't use it. But that's okay. Charge 1. Charge 2. Charge 3. Not quite the results I was hoping for. We'll have to do another one. This may seem anticlimactic, but trust me when I say I ain't fucking around with this guy. Because I got to him a couple times in testing just so I have a place to die, and each turn, he would do a 5-strike attack 3 or 4 times a turn, depending on however many copies he has out. And each time he did it, he more or less killed someone. And if he was allowed to do it at the right time, he would kill the entire party. just not gonna fuck around with that. And don't worry, it's not over. Especially when I fucking miss. Thank you for ruining my climactic moment there, game. Like, I feel like the game could hear me on that one. And just told me to go to hell. Hellion, I know you. You're Odien's first. I failed. Nothing more. I have no regrets. I followed what I thought was my destiny. They sealed the sky away with their own hands, mortal hands. You, however, you may be. Now, I say it isn't over because I did get a mild spoiler when I was researching things. He isn't the end of this. Unless what I read was inaccurate in some way, shape, and or form. Or it was implying other phases he had. There's another fight after this. And it's a lot worse. If I fucked up and made this incredibly anticlimactic, I will accept that. Because honestly, with how nasty those Regent fights were the first time I was doing this for you guys, I am happy to just trash this. To be completely blunt. I'm more than happy to just flatten this and be done with it. That's why I said this was going to be a short stream as well, is because I fully anticipated the potential of just using Dragon Form to destroy the finale. Though I do have concerns that I may have been overhyped about the end. We made it. The main gate. We made it. And beyond that, the sky. And whatever fates awaits us. Well, aren't those familiar looking shoes? There you are. How many times do I have to kill you, Bosch? Before you give up and go away? Partner. Wait, where'd Gangliarm's gone? The main gate. The stairway to the sky. That world, you see. I can see it too. Odien. Odien. Time for the real final fight. seem like he's got that much of a barrier, but at the same time, we're not doing a lot of damage. Okay, now that made an okay amount. There's gotta be a catch, though, right? Okay, he hits pretty hard. Yep, he's just gonna put her right back down. That's what I was afraid of with how Valor worked, but... that's what we have the asinine amount of healing for. I'm not gonna Dragon Form yet. Because I have a suspicion. I have a real strong suspicion that he's got more than one form. Didn't even break his barrier with that. Huh. Interesting. The Seventh Senses last for one turn. Right. Okay. I was about to... I thought they lasted for the battle, but that's the other boosts that last for the whole battle. And I was about to prep all of the boosting now. We're gonna wait a turn. We're gonna let everybody build up their AP. Then we're gonna pop the boosts and see just how much his barrier holds up to that. And since this is presumably the real final battle, I'm gonna let this actually play for a while, rather than just Dragon Forming and crushing him. After all, it's no fun if the fight's over immediately, right? How does it feel to be burning in hell where you belong, Bosch? Sure, it feels natural for you. Oh, you can do that too, huh? Good for you. Ow. Don't like that. I'm not surprised that I promptly got blasted for being a smartass. That's nothing new. I also forgot to use the Seventh Sense on Nina's turn for her attack. She probably could have done a lot of damage that way. But I'll correct my mistake on mine at least. Man, he's got a lot of health. Then again, we were only doing like 100 a hit. That's not actually that much. Let's see how his stats look. Uses the Beast Blade with the power of a dragon, attack him with all you've got. He's got 842 left. You'll notice he's only registering as level 4. That seems a little odd. I do not trust this situation in the slightest. Okay, straight through the barrier that time, so that's good news. Unless he does have a second form, we might be okay already, though. He has to have a second form, though, right? This would be insane. He's just glaring at me now. He's really upset. Ow! Okay, that really hurt. Okay. Huh. Interesting. That's all he did. I'm kind of glad he didn't just blizzard again, because if he did, we probably would not have survived. And that would have been a really embarrassing end to this whole sequence. I've probably got enough to break through and do damage. He's got health left. How much do you have left? I'm curious. 51 health. God damn it. Ah, you bastard. Are you kidding me? Nina, do the honors of goddamn nuking this pain in my ass, please. It's only fitting that she kills him, all things considered. Okay. Got experience. That can't be it, though, right? Is he dead? Well, we've killed him twice before, so I find it unlikely that he's dead this time either. Yeah, of course he's not dead. We're the same, you and I. Both of us no longer human. I'll give you a choice. Protect your friends, or save yourself. You can't do both. Shall we, Drac? Or should I say, Odion? Okay, I think I'm gonna have to dance with him on his terms on that one. Let's just have a test of how strong he is now. 0. 0. 0. 0. 0. And let me guess. 0. Yep. That's about what I expected. This is what I was saving my meter for. I had a feeling that we were gonna pull this shit on me at the end here. Guess I'm gonna have to take him seriously. One. 2. I'm only gonna go for 3 because I only have so much meter to attack with at that point. Let's see how much damage I can do to him. Boosted as much as I am. We're fine. Dragonized form shatter. Huh. Interesting. Die, Bosch. Die like you should have a long time ago. Well, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I might have overgrinded. I think I overgrinded. Drag. Me lose to you for the third time? Yeah? Hey, it's so dark. What's happening? I'm changing. Drag. Oh, is there one more phase? Wouldn't be surprised if there is. Go ahead. Get even bigger. Get uglier. No matter how many times I have to, I will keep killing you. Something's definitely not right there. Jitter. Is that a third dragon? Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. You know, when I was saying get bigger and get uglier, I didn't really mean it. Just throwing that out there. You can put that back. No, Odin. The sky is mine. So there is, I guess, 3 of them. Okay, what do I do here? I can't reach him. Okay, everybody else is here, but I presume that they can't do a damn thing in this situation. If I make the wrong move, we lose by default here. I might not have enough meter for this. After all of that, I might not have enough meter to win this. Because I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. My first instinct is to use the breath attack on him, because that can reach him. The problem is, I don't know how much health he has, so I don't know if 10% of my meter is enough to win this fight. I also don't know if I'm supposed to run out of meter at this point purposely. I'm gonna buy a turn and see if I can look at his profile and figure out what we're dealing with here, because he doesn't seem like he can hurt me. At least not that much. Okay, I don't get other characters' turns, so I can't actually check. Okay. And I definitely can't attack him with any of my abilities, but I did lose 2% of my meter doing that. So that was a foolish waste on my part. I might have to redo those first 2 fights and not spend any of my meter, or at least not much of it, in order to have enough to win this. Let's try this. Yeah, we lose. But judging from how that faded out, I think we're meant to lose. Because that's going to a cutscene, so maybe we're not meant to win that fight. Jitter, mankind will reach the sky. It is their right. I'm not sure why we're upside down for this. %, 120, 130. Yeah, our body's definitely not holding up to this. Nope. Nope. 40. 150. We do appear to be winning, though. 161. That's still going. Stopped at 167%. Or at least we couldn't see it past that point. Safe to say we ain't coming out of that one, though. Considering 100% was killing us before. But then again, plot armor might just save us anyway. Oh yeah. Where was all this animation before?
Nina を連れて先に行ってくれないか。さすがに疲れたみたいだ。しばらく動けそうにないから。頼む。
The character designs make a little more sense now, though.
しょうがないね。ちょっと疲れちゃったみたいだね。先行っちゃおう。
一休みしたら行くから。先に行っといて、ニーナ。必ず行くから。俺たちの役割も終わりってとこだな。疲れたよ。
Safe to say I delayed this more than I needed to.
一つ聞かせてほしい。俺がここまでやってきたのは、それもプログラム。 それを聞いて安心したよ。さよならアジン。さよならニーナ。
And there's the surface. And the sun in the sky. You know, for a world supposed to have been devastated, it looks like it's doing just fine. Suppose it needed a long time to get there, though. Of course, she caught on right as she got up there. Uh-huh. Just because the program terminated doesn't mean we're dead. It just means we don't have that power anymore. Definitely burnt out of us at this point. I'm gonna mute this because this might get the VOD in trouble. That definitely sounds like something that'll get the VOD in trouble. But yeah. Do I regret getting all that grinding and everything done for it to end like this? Kind of. But in a way, it's also really funny. So I'm kind of okay with that. Is in its own way, I can't say that it's not satisfying to have just swung the hammer of way overpowered prepared at this game at the end, just because of how it was for most of this. And for the way that final section, for that final section, that final sequence went, I feel it's only right that we won that handily. Because we just slapped him across the damn room. Am I a little annoyed with myself for over-preparing? A little bit. Because I don't think we even used like a third of what I brought. I genuinely think because of the restriction in not having enough dragon energy to go around, I genuinely think the Regent fights were harder. So, I seem to be on a roll of underwhelming final bosses half the time. They're either a huge pain in my ass or I sneeze on them and they explode. Sometimes both. And then this is why I said it was probably going to be a short stream. Because I didn't anticipate this being a long, drawn-out ordeal. I knew I was gonna end up using Dragon Power on the last couple fights. I knew for sure that they were gonna be fast wins or losses. I was a little worried that the Regent fights were gonna drag on more than they did. And I genuinely expected more out of those final fights. I I feel like the entire choice section there where I had to choose to use the breath weapon against the full-size dragon, I feel like that could have been cut. I feel like that didn't need to be there. They could have just had those two sequences tie together in cutscene form instead of thank you for your playing. God damn it. Well, that derailed the last bit of thought I had there. Yes. We'll go ahead and overwrite that. We'll put a clear data there. Because there's one thing I want to look at in that clear data. Yeah. Notice the change in our D ratio. We went from 1 over 8,192 to 1 over 2,048. Over 6,000 difference. Now, to the best of my knowledge through my research, your D ratio will change based on how you cleared the game. Specifically, how much of the game you did, how many times you had to retry, I think, are a factor, and what percentage you ended the game on your counter at. Treasure chests were accounted for. First strikes were counted. A bunch of things like that. Now, I could go back through the game and show you all of the what's behind all of the D ratio doors and things like that, but honestly, this game's gone on long enough. I dragged it out a bit without meaning to, because I didn't know better. But even still, this was a long experience. Not an experience I regret having, but an experience that was long enough in the tooth that I don't think I would repeat it. And of course, would I recommend it? Well, you guys have all heard my thoughts on this multiple times already. If you like what you saw, by all means, try it. But honestly, I'd say I would more highly recommend most of the other Breath of Fire games over this one. By no means a bad game. Well, long RPGs have never really been my main deal. It's not really a surprise that this didn't really amaze me. And honestly, a lot of the plot, as usual for this kind of thing, was pretty easy to expect. Like, I saw most of those turns coming before they happened. Even without the mild spoiler I gave myself accidentally, trying to make sure that we could finish this. But that's the price of trying to get a little bit of foresight so you don't run into a brick wall like we did initially with the Regents. If I hadn't had such an issue with the Regents at first, I think we actually would have probably made it through the first time just fine. Because with how that played out at the end there, I think we would have had enough counter to do it. The other side of that coin is we then wouldn't have had the improved gear I grinded for. what this tells me is I needed the gear, but I did not need the money. The funny part to that being, the money was much easier to get than the gear. As I showed you guys earlier with the money nonsense you can do with the bank. Which, if I had realized how strong that was and how that worked completely on my way there, we easily could have had all that money when we got there. And the game would have been significantly easier. I never would have been having money trouble ever since we had gotten to the bank. But I underestimated it at first, till in desperation grinding today because I wanted to make sure we were ready for tonight. I fiddled with it just for sake of argument. And here we are with me having way more money than I need. And having an inventory full of healing that I didn't need either. What I probably could have done with all of that healing is I more than likely could have face tanked my way through that fight without using dragon form. It would have been iffy, because there would have been a fairly high chance that a particularly strong attack would have just dropped the whole team. And initially I was considering trying to take on at least Elion with just plain attacks, and then I thought about it a little more, remembered how much he did in testing, and I thought better of it. Because what turned into a 2-hour stream could have turned it out to be more like a 4 or 5 hour stream attempting to fight him. And then it would have turned out the way it did anyway. So I decided it wasn't worth it. And it's already 10 p.m. for me, so I'm not going to raid out tonight because I would like to be there for the person I raid, and I've got a few things I want to do before I go to bed. So in terms of having the time and still not pushing my luck too much, even though more often than not, when I try to sleep, I don't manage it anyway, I'm going to go ahead and play it safe tonight and try to fix my sleep schedule a bit. Thank you to those who showed up for this sudden late night stream to finish this game. And we'll be back tomorrow with Ghost Song. I might finish that tomorrow too, for all we know. Depends how much I get stuck and how long that game actually is. Considering we have 1 part out of 5, I would assume it's going to be a longer experience. But we'll see. Tuesday I have no special plan for either. If I don't finish Ghost Song Monday, I might just continue Ghost Song Tuesday. We'll see. Since Tuesday's kind of my do what I want situation. It'll depend on whether I get annoyed with Ghost Song on Monday or not. Friday it'll be something with Xeno again. We might continue Overcooked. We might go back to 7 days. Depends on how both of us are feeling by the time Friday comes around. Both of us have been having very strongly fluctuating feelings about what we want to play, so we'll see what happens with that. Saturday, I'll probably roll back to something I've done on a Saturday already, unless I get a brilliant idea. Sunday will be something new, because we're now done with this. We don't have to look at this anymore. It'll probably be something a bit shorter, just so I don't have a month-long game again. At least not quite yet. So in terms of slow games that are shorter, it's a little harder to find, but I'll think of something. Till then, though, everybody have a good night and keep out of trouble as much as you can. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Bye, everybody.